everybody, John here, Midnight Paint and Body channel. On this video we're going to get back to work on the 66 Mustang project. So if you're new to the channel guys, 66 Mustang Coupe. I've done I think a couple videos on it now. So last video, I've done quite a bit of metalwork so far, so this side is kind of dialed in. So I've done rocker panels, I've done floor pans, inner and outer wheel houses, a little repair on the floor. This quarter panel is just self-tapered in place just for fitting. Yeah, I've got this side partial trunk floor in, and tail panel, and also we did partial frame rails. So everything's squared up and welded relatively solid. I've got a couple of days free here, so I would like to try and get this car welded up so I can get it back on its feet. It'd be nice to get it mobile again. So, I mean, a lot of what I need to do here we saw on the other side of the car, so I won't get too much into it. I'll kind of bring you along, but I mean, if you watched the last video, then you've seen all of that part of fitting all that stuff. If you didn't watch that last video and you're interested in how these cars go together, you can go back and watch that one. And then come back to this one, and we'll move on with hopefully all the quarter panels and tail panel and so on. But I think the very first thing I want to do is rebuild these door hinges. So I did get rebuild kits for the hinges. The hinges are pretty bad on this thing. Well, very, very bad. I think this one here is actually reasonable. It's the only good one on the car. The other side was really bad. But I just latched the door in place to fit. Again, you should always do stuff like that first. You know, make sure your doors are exactly where they're going to be. But this one, yeah. So get it latched in place to make sure I have good gaps and everything is good there. So this fender looks off, but it's half unbolted, so this fender is just kind of flopping. That's why it looks bad there. So I think that's what we'll do. Let's get set up and see what I need to pull these hinges apart. Here's a real quick look at what our kit consists of. So our upper hinge, that's the easy one. So you've got a pin and two bushings. So one pin, two brass bushings. Now the lower hinge, you've got the main pin with the two brass bushings. And then we've also got a new pin for the oh, I'm having a brain fart. The door holder opener. So this is the piece that latches it in place. Now, when it's open, the check strap, or whatever you would call it. So in this case, you've got a new pin for up here, a new pin for here, and that little roller. So that should be that guy there. You can see this one is completely worn through. That's why it doesn't hold in place anymore. And of course there's a new spring as well. Oh, look at that. That guy. Oh yeah, you can see how that roller is nothing left of it. It's a lot of years of opening and closing. So let's start with the top one. Let's drive this pin out of there, or give her a try. These can be pretty stubborn. Well, let's start with that. Our brass bushings look actually surprisingly good there. We'll knock those out and get the new ones in. So I just went over to the vise there and knocked the old bushings out, tapped the new ones in. So that is obviously very straightforward. I like to put a little anti-seize on the pins before putting them in. Gives them a little lubrication, I guess. Put your new pins in and get them seated. So there we go. Just that easy. So I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom one. More of the same, just with putting in those couple extra pieces. Putting that spring in can be a real bear. But we'll fight with that. I'll turn the camera back on if it's interesting. So I've never seen that before. As soon as I touched this thing with the air chisel, the air hammer, to push this pin out, this lower hinge just fell off. That pin is completely sheared off. Wow! On each end. So there was nothing actually holding the bottom of that door in place. It was just kind of floating around on there. That's pretty wild. I have never seen a door pin break like that. That is crazy. So, something tells me that one's going to be a real bugger to get out of there. That is not moving. It's just mushrooming the top. I'm gonna throw some heat to that thing. Might have to take this lower hinge off. Yeah, we'll heat her up and try again. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, this is definitely going to turn into a thing. Alright, well I'm going to turn the camera off and deal with this. I think I got to pull that lower hinge off. That thing is not budging, and it's going to be a fight. So, I'll bring you guys back when I get this figured out. So here's one of those things why restoration work is hourly. You cannot put a time on restoration stuff. Unfortunately, it takes what it takes. I started on this about 8 o'clock this morning. I got the top hinge done, no problem, that was easy. What I've gotten to in 2 hours is that top hinge. So I got this new pin and roller in here. I got the new bushings in. So here's the pin out of there. So you can see, drilled at both ends. There's a broken drill bit inside there. I heated and oiled and heated and heated and oiled and hammered and air hammered, drilled, finally got it out. So, get that piece of the hinge done. And then I started, this is probably still hot, put this one in the vise, heated it up. Then I've been trying to get that piece of pin out didn't even work that much at it. And the hinge broke. So
Nice.
all of that was probably for nothing, because now I need to get a lower door hinge. Son of a... you know what? I mean, it's cast. I could probably V it, heat it, and weld it. But do I want to spend any more time on this thing? I'm going to go have a cup of coffee. See if I can find a lower hinge for this. Yeah, bring you guys back when I'm back. Well, I didn't record that because I didn't know quite how it was going to go. See, this whole bottom ear, tab, whatever you want to call it, snapped off when I tried to hammer the pin out. But I actually was able to V it and weld it with a ton of heat. Now, I know there's going to be guys saying you can't weld cast, but it actually welded really nice, and it is super solid. So, I'm okay with that. I'm going to put this hinge back on, and then we can move on to the next thing. Well, now that I got those hinges out of the way, on this side anyway, I was going to do both sides before I continued on, but I don't feel like doing that side right now. I'll do it later. So I'm going to move on to putting some of this inner stuff together. Now again, guys, I'm not going to record a bunch of this. You can go back to the last video and kind of see the assembly of all this part. You know, first the trunk floor section has to go in. So on these, you know, the trunk floor is mostly the fuel tank. So the fuel tank is what fills in that void. And these have the dropout built onto the trunk floor. And then our wheel houses go in. So as you can see, these ones are all welded in, inner and outer. I have not welded the deck lid supports yet because we're going to need to make sure the back end, everything is all square before fully welding everything. So those will probably get welded once I get this rear tail panel installed, which is still a little ways off. So that'll all kind of get fitted together. So yeah, pretty straightforward, I guess, just because I've already done it. So I'm going to just continue on with some of this. I'm going to bring you guys back when I get on to the next steps, which is beyond what we did in the last video, like getting the quarter panels on, tail panel on, and so on from there. So I'm going to click off for a bit. I'm going to crank some tunes and get welding. Well, I just thought we would do a little check-in here, guys, the end of the day. So I've got the inner stuff all mocked up, just in with self-tapping screws on this side. And I want to fit the quarter panel before I weld all the inners. But I am having a bugger of a time. This one is just not fitting. I am not one to blame parts. I know guys love to complain about these aftermarket parts, but for the most part, they're pretty good. But the problem, if you watched the last video, you might remember I had a huge runaround with the Mustang depot, who I will never ever deal with again. First off, they sent me damaged parts, and it's turned into a huge, like 6-week long ordeal where I couldn't work on the car because I didn't have parts. Anyway, I had ordered full quarters for this car, and when I got the one for this side, it was damaged beyond use. But then all I could get for a replacement was a partial quarter, which is fine, but I think it's just a way crappier quality part. Just can't get this to line up with the door. I cannot get this line back far enough. Everything is actually lined up really nice. All the alignment holes are matching up nicely. But it's like the back of the car is down, which it's not. I mean, I've got it all measured up. I've got it blocked up, sitting square for when I put the frame rails in. This was a full quarter, which I chose to cut the top off and do it kind of like a partial quarter. It was just easier than taking the back window out, but this one fits nice. I've got no issues on this side. This is that damaged quarter panel. I'm almost tempted to trim this one up and frickin' use it, but God, it's just so stretched. It was just thundered right through here. And I've already pushed it out, but it's just buggered. I just hate to put a brand new part on and having to hammer it all out and use a bunch of filler to make it good, but I'm just not sure. Sometimes you just need to walk away, so I'm gonna call it a day, and it's only 4:30. But yeah, that's okay. Clean up in the morning and look at it with a fresh set of eyes and fight with it some more. I'm thinking, because everything lines up really nice, I think I might end up just using this, but I'll trim it down here and just move everything a little bit. Now, you can see this shape is wrong here, and then, yeah. I think I'm just thinking out loud. I'm undecided. We'll see. Maybe I'll trim up that other quarter panel and just see how it fits on here. If it fits properly, then maybe I will fix that one up and use it. Anyway, we'll find out tomorrow. Enough babbling. See you guys in the morning. Hey, so it's the next morning here, guys. I've been out here for a little bit. So I stayed out here a little bit later last night and fooled around with some more, and then I came out early. You know, first point I'm going to make here is, you know, I even said it yesterday, that I hate to be the guy that blames the parts. Because I know whenever I hear guys say, oh, you know, those parts don't fit, the aftermarket parts don't fit, it's usually just, I don't want this to sound bad, but I mean, usually it's a lack of skill in being able to align body panels. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, we just don't all possess the skills. And I'm not saying that I possess all those skills, but it, you know, turns out that most of my problem with this quarter panel was actually my inner, which I was pretty confident I had lined up just right, but I was able to take the self-tappers out and I was able to kick it back, oh man, like maybe a 1/4 inch. But no, and then I've tweaked this quarter panel a bit. So I've actually put a little bit of a relief here and here. It's a tiny bit low there, but that doesn't matter right now. But now I've got it decent-ish. So I can move that up a hair to line up with that line. That's nothing. But the biggest problem I'm having, even though I've kind of hammered up this edge, I'm hitting that rocker. Oh, and there's the other thing I'll show you. So I put a little bit of a relief in that back of that rocker. And so you see it's, well, it's that much, not even a 1/4 inch. Just to be able to move that inner back. Might not even have been necessary. But now you got to keep in mind, these are aftermarket parts. They are not always going to fit like the factory. But, you know, I've hammered up this bottom lip on this quarter panel, but it is still, it's hitting the rocker. There's no way that's going to go into place with these lines lined up. And yes, it can go up a bit, but it's not going to change this. I need a 1/4 inch. So my first thought was maybe I put the rocker on a little cockeyed, but with our door fitting, with our hinges rebuilt, you know, our bottom gap is nice. Here's a section of the original rocker, just that front piece where I spliced it in, and you can see we're the same all the way along. So the rocker is good, it's in a good place. But this quarter panel is just not going to fit. So I'm going to have to trim the bottom of this quarter.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
I will either trim it and weld that flange back on. Or I might even try to, well, I was going to say I'll try and rebend that flange, but I can't get that in the sheet metal break. So I'd be having to do it with hammer and dolly, so I might be better off welding the flange. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But yeah, just, you know, this is the kind of stuff you run into. This has definitely been fighting me a bit this quarter. I mean, the other quarter panel didn't fit perfect. It has a bit of tweaking to do. And actually, the other side, I need to do this as well. I need to just change the end of that rocker just a hair. But, I mean, that's all kind of par for the course with these aftermarket parts. But yeah, just thought I'd keep you guys in the loop. Just so you know, when you're, you know, if you're tackling something like this, you know, don't always jump to the first conclusion, oh, it's the parts, oh, it's this, it's that. It's most often, and it's a combination of, you know, a little bit here, and a little bit there, and a little bit back there, and it throws things out completely, so. Yeah, I'm gonna keep fitting with this. I'm pretty close. I'll let you guys know what I decide to do with the bottom of that quarter, but I think that's the next thing, and then I can get it. Yeah, then I can get the quarter off, get that inner welded up solid, and then we can move on to more fun things like actually welding on the quarter panels and the back panel, and so on. So, I'll bring you back in a bit. Aha! I can weld that piece back on, just moved up just a tiny bit. Yep, that's what it needed. Well, good morning again. So, yesterday, I got all of our inners welded up, and I just brush painted a quick coat of rust preventative paint on the stuff that we're not going to be able to get to once the quarter panels are on. So it just kind of cleans everything up, seals everything up nicely. Personally, I like this Krylon paint. I just buy it by the gallon. I buy this semi-gloss black. It brushes on nice, it dries up. I mean, it's slow drying, but if you leave it overnight, it's good. And I just feel like it just kind of seals everything up nicely. So, just, again, guys, like I always say, just something that works for me. But what I've decided to do here, before I put the quarter panels on this car, I'm going to reinstall these quarter windows, because they are always just such a giant pain in the butt. I think I've said this before, but no matter what brand, I mean, I've excuse me, I've had these things apart on many different models. I mean, you know, Fords, Chevys, Mopars, the works, and they're all a pain. So I figure I'm going to reassemble them before welding quarters on, and then we'll just cover up the glass really good before we weld. So first thing, these little brackets need to go on there, so I'm going to put some inserts. I've already put one in there. These aftermarket rockers, the holes are there, but they don't have the inserts, so these nutsert or threaded insert tools are really handy. This is one of those things, I never owned one. I would always make do, but you know, companies like this, like Vevor, like this is actually a really good quality tool. I've used it quite a bit. Never had a problem with it, so it's kind of made a lot of this stuff a little more affordable for some of us that just, quite honestly, can't really afford to have the really nice stuff. But this thing is great. It's not sponsored or anything, I'm just showing it to you guys because I like it. And it comes with a whole whack of different size threads and different attachments for all the different size inserts. So yeah, very handy. Oh yeah, and it comes with a whole ton of inserts as well. Alright, oh, and I just remembered something. I need to put a patch in there in the floor. Remember we, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Well, I guess it's covered up with all the junk, but remember on that side, if you watched the other videos, I made a piece for the floor for right there. I still need to do that on this side. So I have to do that before I do these. Okay, so that didn't take too long. So I've made up a new patch for this side of the floor. We did the same on the other side. Now, if you're new to this one, you're wondering, you know, why didn't we replace this full floor section? We just don't want this job to completely snowball. Now, I did rear frame rail sections, and of course trunk dropouts, inner and outer wheel houses. Had we gotten into, well, of course, floor pans as well, but had we gotten into this section of the floor pan, at that point you're completely undoing the frame rails, and we did partial sections. So at that point you may as well do full frame rails. You know, at that point you may as well do this and this and this and put it on a rotisserie and pull the suspensions. So we're just trying to keep this one reasonably simple. And the rest of the floor is solid, like what I did there is totally fine. It's all going to tie in together, so like I said, I'm going to move on to putting these quarter windows together. I'm not going to record that because it's a stupid, terrible job that nobody likes to do or see. They're always a pain. These ones shouldn't be too bad because I'm going to do them from this side, not fighting everything through the holes, sliding the glass down, and you know, all the pain in the butt that goes along with doing them from the inside. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring you guys back. We should be on to, you know, truly fitting the quarters and tail panel at this point. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this thing kind of together. So there's one side back in, guys. I didn't record this because if I could show you how to do this, like, oh, you just do this and clickety click and it's in there, I would record it. But because I fight with these every time, figuring out where everything goes back in, I did have some pictures, thankfully, but I didn't really need them, but it's always a good idea to take pictures of this stuff before you take them apart. But I've greased everything up. It actually works very nicely. Now, there's a lot of adjustment in these where you can tip them back and forth that way. So I played with a little bit until I got it where the window just goes up and fits nicely. So get a nice even fit along there. And that is one side in. Maybe not the best way to do it, you know, but I would rather do this than have it all together, and especially do it when the car's all painted, because, yeah, they're always a bit of a fight. If you haven't seen the last videos on this, if you're wondering about this, this is hilarious. At some point in this car's life, now it had a big repair on the old quarter panel. It was full of filler here. So somebody, rather than taking those out, torched a hole.
Nice.
In the interior panel of the car. Torched holes right through the window regulator.
Wow.
I believe that was just to get to the speed nuts on the inside of the trim, the chrome trim that goes right here on these quarter panels. So that was kind of funny. I mean, I get it because these suck to take out, but it's funny that somebody went to that extent to torch holes in the damn thing rather than taking it out. But you see, I get it. They're a pain. So I'm going to do the other side. Yeah, it's taking a little longer than I thought. But I'll get the other quarter glass in, and then we can start putting quarter panels on. Okay, so finally, both quarter windows are in. Our inners are painted. It was honestly taking a lot more of the day than I was expecting, but now we can start putting the quarter panels in place. So I will be putting the quarter panels on just with self-tapping screws again, get everything lined up, and we can start lining the back panel as well, which we haven't had on the car yet. Alright, so I'll go around, tighten this all up, get it lined up, and we'll kind of move around the car. Okay, so I've got both quarter panels sort of in place. Self-tappers, obviously. Got the fit okay. Not perfect. It's about as good as I'm going to get with these parts. But it's pretty good. I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it's just okay. How about that? So yeah. The other thing I think I'm going to do back here, but I am running out of time today. So this side I did use the kind of taillight pocket piece that came on the new quarter panel. Now this, I did separate it to make everything fit better. And then the other one, now this one actually came on the other full quarter panel, but that's not the panel we're using, so I did take this one off. And I'm going to use it on this, so this was the partial quarter that I had to trim up to fit quite a bit. But again, it's fitting pretty good. But I think I am going to use this tail light pocket section because it's in better shape. This is actually kind of rusty down in here, so I would rather use this. But we're not quite there. I need to drill that one out. But I can kind of get an idea with our tail light panel now. So this will be kind of the last piece to fit. No, I'm just kind of throwing it over top of it. It's not really close to being where it needs to be. It's sort of close, but let's see if we line that up. It's all the way over there. So that's going to be right about there. It's got to suck down quite a bit on the ends. It's really not in place, but then of course that will weld to this back panel. Yeah, it's a flange there, so we'll drill and spot weld that. I mean, our trunk lid is still fitting our quarter panels nicely. This one's a little tight. This is going to push out a little bit. It's just the way everything's sitting right now. Now this one is good. The trunk lid's down a bit in that corner, but we don't have our trunk lid supports welded yet, so we'll need to get that right in place. You can see that's gonna just have to pull up just a hair to get that corner up. But I think that's next week's problem. I really thought I would have this welded up by the end of this week, but it's, man, it's just been taking longer than I expected. I think I've said that a few times. But yeah, I think, man, it's getting close to the end of the day Friday, so I think I'm going to just spend the last half hour of the day cleaning up. I do have a little job next week coming in on Monday, but then I'll have some time again next week, so I'll get right back on this. I do want to get this welded up, get the suspension back in place, and get this car to where it can be moved, because we're getting close to winter. I gotta get stuff cleaned up in here. I gotta get everything organized. I brought my old Ford in yesterday. I put a used motor in it, so I'm trying to get that buttoned up. So my own project's taking up space as well. Anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Hey guys, so I'm just working on the Mustang a little bit here in between another job I've got in the booth, painted this morning, just got to put it together. But I've been working on this a little bit, so I figured I should turn the camera on here and kind of show you how I'm doing these quarter panels. So I'm working my way along with the zip cut, cutting a section, and then lining up our metal so it's edge to edge, and then welding it from there. And then, so here's the little bit I'm cutting off the top of the quarter panel. So as I cut a little more, I peel that back a little more. Once I get right to the very end, I'll be able to pull that excess out of there. So I'm only kind of doing an hour here and there on this job right now, but kind of realized I should maybe be showing you what's happening. I'm going to keep kind of working my way around, kind of getting everything tacked in place, and hopefully tomorrow we should be able to start mounting up that tail panel. Well, I've been moving ahead a little bit here, guys. I know I've jumped way ahead of where we were, but yeah, I've been kind of all over the place here lately. I'm trying to get some miles down on this thing. So I have... I kind of showed you briefly how I was doing with quarter panels, so you can see how nicely that works. So I've just got to continue filling all this in. Now, this is a lot of welding, and you really have to take your time with stuff like this because you can work these panels pretty easily. So it'll be a lot of heating and cooling. There's lots of tacks and working my way around. Both sides, I ended up just slitting the quarter panel, and it was kind of just the width of the zip cut and moving that front edge in just that little bit, just to get the gap just right. Now, with both sides being tight at the bottom like that, that does kind of tell you that the whole back end of the car should come up, if that makes sense, to kind of twist the quarter panel that way, just that tiniest bit. But I just couldn't get any kind of adjustment that way. I mean, that didn't work. I mean, these posts are where they are. But anyway, that worked out. So yeah, I think I showed you before on this that the end of this rocker was the same thing. I put a little slit there and I moved that back just a hair, and then welded it back up, so that made our fit nice there. Everything else is good. Now, I am going to point out, in case you run into this or you know, full disclosure, these things aren't always perfect, but I do have a gap between the quarter panel and the wheelhouse, both sides, that I can fit my finger in just around the top, but then we're tight here, we're tight here, but, you know, there was just, again, there was no way to get that wheelhouse down anymore to where that would be perfect. You know, I guess it's just how they fit. So, like I said, I don't like to blame the parts. I always think there could have been something done a little differently, but I think it's just how they fit. I think I am going to have to blame the parts in this case. And I will say too that these parts are from different suppliers. Like those wheelhouses are Dynacorn, if I remember correctly. And these quarter panels were whatever. Yin Yang, I'm not sure. So yeah, same thing over here. I've got it. I mean, I do have it fitting super nice. Same here, I did just put that little bit of a slit just to get that gap just even and nice. But yeah, the doors are fitting good. Quarters are fitting good. Oh yeah, here's what I was talking about on the other side. So you can see the way I've cut that. Now I just need to move that in until it's lined up nice with our quarter panel, and then I'll fill that with welds. So that's a small detail. And again, both sides needed the same thing, so that, you know, that kind of tells me I had the parts fit good, but it's just the way the parts themselves are. And yeah, like it's funny, like both sides, yeah, both sides are pretty much exactly the same. Ill-fitting, just like from here to here. I probably will just fill that up with sealer. I mean, there's just, I mean, I can't clamp those together without distorting the panels. And I can't really cut and move anything in there, and it's just gonna have to be the way it is. It's something no one's ever gonna see, but it's just something that's just not quite 100%. But like I said, full disclosure, I'm far from perfect. I have done my best with what we have here. I have fitted, sorry I wasn't showing you guys all this as I was doing it. So it's just kind of, things have been kind of crazy. I have fit both extensions. While I was tacking and welding, I made sure both of these extensions fit nicely. This one, so these have a little bit of adjustment so they can be moved around. And I find with a lot of these old cars with final body work, you just kind of fine tune these until they fit just beautifully. I mean, a little bit of filler or building up the edge a little bit. Ooh, it's hearing a change in the weather. Man, it is smoky. Oh yeah, there's something coming in. Oh, geez. Oh wow. Yeah, it is crazy smoky here today. We've got forest fires all over. And yeah, the wind is not good with fires. Sorry, sidetracked. I do like having the breeze blowing through the shop. So anyway, where was I? Yes, we've got everything fitting nicely. Deck lid. Nice gap. Now this one I know is a little tighter, but when I put the tail panel in, we'll just kind of move. I can't do it one-handed. But yeah, we're a little bit tight there, but that is, actually that's more deck lid adjustment. Anyway, you can see we've got room to come over a hair there. So yeah, we can take up that difference in the adjustment easy enough. I pointed out before, I have not welded up these deck lid supports yet. I'm going to make sure everything's in place. But I am on to where we can start fitting this tail panel. Where's my clampy on here? So this is going to be pretty straightforward. Except that I was looking at it. I'm not sure if this area is supposed to be on the inside of the quarter. I think it probably is. That would fit better inside. I always keep the old pieces so I can reference stuff like that. But there wasn't enough left of it to be able to tell. This side's probably easier. I'll show you guys what I mean. So you see these areas here on the outside. Now this has to go on top. This all goes over for sure. Thinking that probably is supposed to go on the inside like that, and then I'll have to get this part over top, so it's going to be kind of a fight and a little bit of bending, unless it doesn't go. Holy moly! Okay, I think we've got a storm coming in. I might have to close the doors on one end. But anyway, I will figure that out. I need to do a little more trimming to get this fitting just right, and then I'll figure out exactly how that is supposed to fit. Yeah, I kept our old tail panel here. Oh yeah. Yeah. Shoot, I didn't keep enough of it. Anyway, minor setback. I'll figure that out. Bring you guys back when I move along here a little bit and figure out where it's going to fit and do a little bit more grinding and trimming. So, I'll be back. Just a quick little edit here, guys. That does go on the outside. So it turns out I did still have these pieces. So you can see that panel does go on the outside just like that. So that will be easier. Good thing I didn't fight with that and try and do it different. And that's another point about these cars. Never throw anything away until you're done with it. I always keep all this kind of stuff, even rusty, crappy sheet metal, because you never know when you might just have to reference something, even if it's just as simple as a hole or something that you're not quite sure if it should be there, shouldn't be there. Always good practice to keep it all. That kind of goes back to my days in collision repair as well. We never throw the old parts away until the job is down the road. So, okay, I'm going to keep fitting. I'll be back. So because these actually have holes for the tail lights that line up, if I kind of bolt it in place like that, then we'll know it's sitting in the right spot to start with anyway. That looks pretty good. Oh, why did I do that? Heck yeah. Looks like we're definitely in the right place, guys. Of course, you probably can't see because I'm a terrible cameraman. quarter extension in place. And yeah, we're looking good there. All right, well, I got someone pulling in, so I'll be back. So, self-tapping screws are your friend when you're doing this kind of stuff. Because they're really good for trial fitting everything. Obviously, you can just kind of put everything together. Do all your tests. You know, when you kind of get to, you know, a stage like this, where now I'm putting this tail panel on, I've lined it up with the alignment holes, and everything kind of falls into place, you know you've done a pretty good job. Because, you know, our trunk lid fits right where it should. We've got a nice even gap along our tail panel. So, yeah, everything is hunky-dory. Whatever that means. One of those old people sayings. I think I'm turning into an old people. What? I think before I attach that, because our hole for the bumper bolts is just down over the, hopefully you guys can see, kind of halfway covering up the floor. I just kind of pull that up. Yeah, our trunk lid is still good. Clamp. Still good. All right, so I'm just going to finish putting this on with some screws. Our next thing, probably not until tomorrow, but our next thing will be these supports. So our trunk striker is going to be basically right there, but we need to make sure we're in exactly the right place for the latch. And then these guys are the bumper supports. So these are going to weld right in there somewhere. And the holes And these are going to line up with these holes in the tail panel. So we'll get all that figured out tomorrow. So we'll see you guys then. Well, good morning again. So where we left off yesterday, kind of self-tapered everything in place. I've got the tail panel, everything fit. This morning I fit the quarter extensions and the tail lights on both sides to make sure everything was sitting where it belonged. I've added a few more self-tappers just along the bottom of the quarter panels. Now these have this excess metal on here that's going to have to be trimmed off. Not sure why they come like that, but that's okay. And I've also taken our trunk latch striker piece support. I've just got it sitting on there with one clamp. Got it lined up nice and centered for our latch. So that's happy. Our gap along the deck lid, you want to be sure that that's not hitting, but of course this deck lid could be adjusted in. It's got a hair it could go in. I actually did pull it back already, so it'll probably have to be fine-tuned. It's not sucked all the way down, but the latch can be adjusted down that little bit as well. So from there, I'm probably going to crawl underneath because I've got good access and start putting a couple welds on this support. So maybe what I will do is just do those two, and then I need to drill a couple holes to weld these top ones. And then we can also weld up these trunk supports that weld to the inner fenders. So, it's not quite. Oh. So yeah, that's going to be good. Lines are nice. That's the most important thing. Check all your gaps. Or even side to side with this trunk that could go over that way just a hair. So that's fine. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start, I'm going to get set up and start welding up that support for the latch. Alright, I'm going to adjust that latch just a hair. So I welded our trunk supports and our latch support. We're a little tight on this gasket, so I'll just adjust this latch up just a hair. Yeah, you don't want to have to be, definitely don't want to have to be slamming like that. So that's nothing. So everything is good there. Gap is still good. Yeah, that's definitely too tight. Oh, I can actually see that latch is shifted. Okay. So I'm going to have to, after I adjust that, so these are our bumper supports, I guess, reinforcements. So those, like I showed you yesterday, they go right there. So these 3 holes line up with that back panel. So I've got those, they line up nicely. But I am just going to continue on with some welding. I'm not going to keep the camera going too much here, guys, because this is just a whole bunch of working my way around, filling in these seams, bunch of spot welds. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I'll bring you back when it's a little more interesting than watching me weld stuff. So I've been moving along on this thing today here, guys. I have got both quarter panels fully welded. Obviously the weld's kind of taken down. This side's cleaned up a little nicer. And I always go around and check if I see any little porosity. I'm just marking a few little spots where I'll go around and touch up with the welder. Yeah, this is the one where we had to kind of trim the bottom a little bit, so that's all fitting nice now. Yeah, all of our gaps are nice. Yeah, I think pretty much all the welding is done. All I kind of have left right now is our bumper reinforcement supports, whatever you want to call them. And those are the pieces that I showed you that we just line up our holes. And these will just get a couple of welds on the inside. And then I'll probably drive a couple of self-tappers in to draw those nice and tight. And we'll do a couple of plug welds to that side the way they were from the factory. See, this side fits just a little bit nicer. This one's still good, but just a little bit of a difference there. But overall, I mean, everything's fitting really well. And again, I apologize, you guys. I'm not doing my best filming on this one. It's just kind of one of those jobs where it's hard to. I've been bouncing around other things, so it's kind of hard to keep focused on it sometimes. But I did realign that trunk latch so you can see I'm not slamming it like I was before. Our trunk gaps are really nice. So very happy with that. Nice and even both sides. I did jostle the deck lid around just a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and burn in those supports. I'll get that out of the way. Alright, I think that is it for the welding on this portion. So I am going to just tidy up a bunch of little stuff. I'm going to check everything over, check my little any little areas that need to be touched up with the welder. And I'm going to do up this rear suspension. Now I don't have the bushings for in the frame yet. I think I can just put the bolt through and that'll be good enough just to get it down on the ground for now. Because man, it would be nice to get this thing mobile and kind of get everything out and give my old shop a good cleanup. Need to do that once in a while. So yeah, I'm going to pick away at this for the rest of the day. Tomorrow's Friday, so yeah, we'll come back and have one last look and look at everything we've accomplished. Well guys, I think that is as far as we're getting on this one this week. Because it's pretty much the end of the day, and I actually I pushed everything outside today and I spent pretty much the entire day doing the shop cleanup. You never know that everything's jammed back in here again, but it'll be nice to start fresh next week with a kind of tidy shop. So pretty much the only thing I did today to carry on with this, I brush painted with some semi-gloss black, just Krylon rust paint, the whole inside. So as you can see, it makes it look pretty nice and clean. You'll never see it again once the carpet's in there, but I kind of like brush painting them because then it kind of really gets into all the seams and cracks and crevices and seals everything up nicely. So, got that taken care of. Oh, this one, the handle's a little funny. So, as we went over before, gaps are all really nice. To build up this edge just a little bit with some welds, so need a little more finishing, but that's just all nitpicky stuff. I set the fuel tank back in. Actually, I just need to hook up the fuel line and this car will run again, but it'll be coming back out when I paint in here, but I just wanted to make sure it fits. And you know, even the these aftermarket panels I put in, I mean, I set the fuel tank in and it lined right up with the holes, so it's bang on. So yeah, just got the tail lights and quarter extensions on just for fitting, just so I know everything's happy there. Deck lid closes properly now, and again, nice straight gaps. And this side's more of the same. I did get a kind of a nasty work, a little too much heat. I've got a bit of a dive right there, but it's accessible from the back. I bet you just a little pressure out and then a few taps on this top body line will put the strength back in. That'll pop out, so I'm not worried about it. I didn't weld in the seat, what you call them, seat pedestals, seat mounts yet. So they go right here. I just wanted to seal everything up because I wouldn't have been able to get underneath them once they're on there. And it's not a big deal, but I figured I would rather just do it that way, and then these are simple. I'll just drill a couple holes around them and plug weld those to the floor, and then we'll just touch up the black paint. So, I'm going to be taking a little break on this one for a little while again. I did just ordered some Goodmark front fenders for it. Now these things, you know, yes, it's nice to fix the factory stuff, but the hours I would spend on putting bottoms on these and rebuilding the inners, and then of course stripping them, sandblasting them, and finding out what's in them. The good quality Goodmark fenders were like $400 a piece. That's Canadian, of course. I know they're a lot cheaper US, but still, you know, I can't repair those fenders for what we can get new ones for, and then we're just starting out with nice fresh sheet metal up at the front too. So I do have a different hood for this car that the owner bought, because they just came across a nice clean hood for a good price, and I wanted rid of the hood pins too. So yeah, that'll make this one, you know, not too bad to get finished up. I do have another job coming in next week, but then, like I've said before, I'm just kind of trying to get caught up. So I've got a fairly big job next week. It's one I couldn't turn down. It's a collision job, so I'll get that coming in. And then after that, I want to spend a week or two on the 52. So I should be able to, you know, if I spend 2 weeks on this thing, I should be able to make a massive amount of progress on it. So that'll be coming up. And then prepping and painting the Hornet, so hopefully that's not too far off too. So I don't have much booked as far as the weekly work, so I can get this stuff tidied up. The El Camino, I mean, that's mine. I'm picking away at it. I haven't recorded anything on it. It's just kind of fun. I'll have this coming up pretty soon. This belongs to a good friend of mine. That's a 68 Camaro with a super cool 70s marble paint job, which I'm going to see if I can match, because it's got a black fender on it. So yeah, that'll be fun too. So anyway, guys, I appreciate all you guys that keep checking out my videos and watching the channel. You know, I have fun making the videos. I'm at the point now I make a couple $100 a month, you know, sometimes $300-400 a month off of YouTube. And, you know, I'm an average dude like everyone else, and that is super helpful. So I'm very grateful for it. And like I say, grateful to you guys that keep watching the stuff. I know some of it's kind of not the most exciting, but I know the old cars are a lot cooler than some of the more boring stuff. But anyway, it's Friday night. I'm gonna go out and play cars with my friends because it's cruise night. I still don't have the motor in my Firebird, but this is another one of those things. I put a motor in that old red Ford that you guys have probably seen around the shop, and I've been driving it all week. It runs awesome. Bit of a rear main seal leak, so I might have to pull the transmission out of it, but I'm probably gonna sell it. But it's been a lot of fun. I'm gonna take that out tonight. Take her on cruise night. I still have insurance on my 59. I can drive that too. So anyway, guys, like I said, thank you so much for watching. And I hope you will come back and check out the next one. We'll see you then.